I think it's instinct. I think that that's what's kept them alive for thousands and millions of years, I guess, is that one horse decides to take off and bolt and run the other way, and they all go with him, whether they wanted to or not, just instantly and instinctively, because that's what saved the whole herd, or at least some of them, back in the dinosaur days.
When we spread out and gather those horses, it's like they know. Those horses just know. And they know before you even see them. They can hear, I don't know, there's something about a horse. I think they can read our minds. They just know. And you'll see them running 2 miles off before they've even seen you, just because there's like some hidden inner herd communication, and they all just start running. And horses, when you gather them, they don't gather slow. They're not like cows. When you gather horses, it is full on, fast, go.
Gathering horses is a little different from driving. You're in open country, it's kind of like hunting, I guess. You head out across the 7,000-8,000 acre pasture, and you're on two sides of the canyon and 500-foot cliffs to the bottom of the canyon. It's your job to find all the horses, and when you're starting out, lots of country, very few horses. As the day progresses, the bunch gets bigger, headed towards that section of ground down low on the creek.
They do run in herds, and there are natural leaders within those herds. It's not always the fastest or the smartest horse. Sometimes you'll look at a horse out front and go, why are you here? Why are you in the lead here? But within our group of several hundred horses, there may be 10 different little bunches. We call them bunches, because that's what they are. They always hang out together. And if you see one of them, you know that bunch is accounted for. And generally they stick together by where they go to work in the summer. They become friends just like people, and they hang out in those little bunches. But within a big bunch of horses, say 400 horses, once they get the idea that we're moving them, we're gathering them, and we're headed in one direction, slowly those bunches will start coming in to become bigger bunches. But there's always leaders in those bunches, and that's what you want to watch when you're gathering horses and when you're moving horses, are your leaders, because your followers always follow.
They've been out on the range for 6 months, and whether they'd like to admit it or not, they're gentle horses, and they're kind of hard to some of them to convince of that. Most of them head in the right direction, and there's a few outlaws that you got to tune up on a little bit. But most of the time, if you got good cowboys in the right spots, you can get into the pasture that you want to get.
Pretty good bunch, and it may seem like mayhem when they're all running in 16 different directions, but it's not. They're well trained and well broke horses, and they know what they're supposed to do. And they'll try and they'll. It's more about conveying to them what you expect of them than it is about just sheer brute or sheer speed. You've got to make sure that they know what you want from them, because usually 9 times out of 10 a horse, if he knows what you want from him, he'll do it. This is part of their job, is to come in. It's time to come to work, and they need to know that. And so it's important that we don't screw up. It's important that we don't mistrain them. This isn't a one-time deal. This is part of their life on our ranch. Is they go to winter range and they come back again in the spring, and we run them on pastures, and to get them home, they have to know how to be gathered. We have 400 head of horses that work. They go to guest ranches and outfitters and hunters and trail ride outfits and kids camps, and out of 400 horses, the majority of them have a job, and that's how we have a job. They work.